Hello my quilting friends! My name is Leah Day and we are piecing a spinning Dresden plate today. For this block you will need a green strip cut 2 inches wide by about 21 inches, a 5-inch strip in purple, and a 3-inch square in orange. I also have my background fabric cut a little bit bigger than I need at 13 to 14 inches square. And to make this block, we're going to use Dresden template number 3. First step is to cut our green petals. We're going to line up the narrow side of template number 3. We're going to line that up with the bottom edge of our strip. That means that the 2 mark is going to be at the top of the strip. Click my rotary cutter open and cut to one side, and remember to always cut with your dominant hand. So that is the shape of the petals we're cutting in green, and you need a total of 8 of them. Now let's cut our purple petals. These are going to use the full width of the strip at 5 inches. So I just line up the template, making sure that the top and bottom edges are lined up nicely, and cut carefully along one side, and again rotate that around and carefully cut the opposite side. And I have put true grips on the bottom of my template. That's the side with the etched lines, has true grips on it to help it be grippy and stick on the fabric. So that is our purple petals. You're going to need a total of 4 of these. Now for our center circle, I am going to use some fusible web. I've just cut a 3-inch square in fusible web. This is my favorite Steam a Seam 2 Light. And I just peel off that paper backing, line it up nicely, and give that a press. And if you're worried about not lining that up exactly and getting a little bit of sticky on your pressing board, just use a pressing cloth. But there we go, that is nicely fused. I still have a paper backing, so that way I can cut this out. I can cut out a 3-inch circle with my circle template. Okay, so I was originally going to cut a 3-inch circle out of my 3-inch square. That did not end up working out because it did not leave enough fabric around, and the template slipped a little bit, and then I wasn't going to cut a perfect circle. So next time, if you want a 3-inch circle on this, go on ahead and cut your square bigger, 4 inches instead. That's going to give you a little bit of room, more room to play. I'm now going to cut a 2-inch circle using the 2-inch circle template. And another tip, put some little dots of true grips here on the back, guys. That really helps stop the template from slipping. And use a smaller rotary cutter blade. So the bigger the blade, the more space it takes up going around the shape. And the smaller the blade, the tighter the shape you can create. So yeah, you want I would say 28 millimeter, that's what this is that I'm using here. I think that's a good size for cutting out these smaller circles. So go a little bit at a time, slow and steady wins the race. And yeah, I'm going to cut out a 2-inch fused circle for the center. It's time to prepare all of our petals, and for this block we're going to prepare all of our petals the exact same way. We're going to take that wide edge of the petal and just fold it over 1/4 inch. So I've created a turning template here. This is a 1-inch strip of fusible web. I doubled it, pressed 2 pieces together. The sticky side is on the back, and you can see I've used this a lot, so it's not as sticky as it once was. But the nice thing is freezer paper, and this is just freezer paper from the grocery store. It's cheap and readily available, so you can always cut yourself more. And I did draw a line 1/4 inch from the edge of that template, and now I'm just pressing my fabric over to reach that line. And I'm just going to give that a quick press. Now to make sure that this is nice and crisp, I've sprayed a little bit of spray starch into this little cap, and I am going to take a paintbrush and paint that along the edge. This helps me stay in control over where that starch ends up, doesn't allow the fabric or the template to get too wet, and allows me to put starch exactly where I need it, and then I can press, dry it, and now I have a nice crisp edge to my petal. So that's how we're going to prepare all of our petals, the purple petals, just like that, and the green petals too. So just straight edge finish, and it's super, super easy from here. Now all we're gonna have to do is piece these together in sets of 3. So purple petal in the center and 2 green petals on both sides. Now when you're piecing this, you wanna piece from the inside edge. So we're gonna put that together with the narrow side and then just piece with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitching at the beginning and end. You might want to go on ahead and stitch all the way down to the end of your purple petal, just so that helps you turn that over, and I'll show you what I mean in the next step. So here you can see I have pieced my Dresden plate together, and this was pieced in sets of 3, and then I pieced those sets together, those are quarters, pieced those sets together to create the total Dresden plate. And now let's explain why I do that stitching all the way down to the end of these purple petals. And the reason is you need to turn the petal edges over, and that line of stitching can be really handy for turning that over nice and straight and crisp. So here is the petal that I'm working on. I'm just going to flatten this out nicely and then work to fold that seam allowance over. And you can see I'm rolling that stitching line over as well. Just rolling that all the way over, holding it down with my fingers, and then I'll hit it with a hot, dry iron. And it helps to use a dry iron. My iron doesn't have any holes in it, no steam, because all those little holes on the bottom of the iron can definitely catch your fabric, cause it to pull and do weird things. So I'm always really careful about applique like this. Technically Dresden plates are applique, and I like to use that. So I'm going to fold this side over too. And this is what's creating that nice turned edge effect. Now for the green petals here, I did press these seams open just to flatten them out. I trimmed up a little bit on those seam allowances, and then to tuck that away, I'm just going to do a little triangle fold, just tuck that over and then fold it down. And I'm going to grab my paintbrush again, just a little bit of starch on the end, dab that on. Get the fabric wet right there, and that's going to help me be able to turn those little triangles. You could trim it too, but I kind of like to just fold it over. So just tuck that in, just like so, and then hit it with my iron tip. That'll dry, and it'll finish up really nicely. You can see how this one turned out. I don't have anything extending beyond that edge. I'm going to do the exact same thing here with these little, see how that just wings out? The fabric just wings out ever so slightly over the edge of the petal. I just open that out, fold down the corner of that seam allowance, and then fold it back over inside, and then hit it with my iron. Watch those fingers. And again, you might want to hit that with just a little drop of starch right there, and that will help crisp that up, help it to fold over that much better. Okay, to finish our block, I've taken the background fabric and folded it in half both ways to create straight line crease lines going in both directions. Now you have lots of choices for how this gets placed. You could go this way, you could go this way. You could even go kind of in the middle, kind of diagonally. That would look kind of neat. But I really like the idea of the seam lines between the shorter green petals. I like that seam line to be right through the center of the block. So that's the way I'm going to place mine. And I'm going to go around this outer edge, and I have put Elmer's School glue, into a micro tip glue bottle. You can find these on my website, leahday.com. And I am just running a very thin line of glue along the edge of these petals. This is how I glue down all of my Dresden plates. And don't worry, the first time you wash your quilt, the Elmer's glue will wash out completely. This is basically just a very thick version of liquid starch. So I just apply that all around, making sure that my block is still nicely positioned, smooth it down, and then hit it with a hot, dry iron. And that is going to dry that glue and hold it to the background fabric, hold it nice and temporarily in place. I am stitching along the outer edge just with a nice straight line. That's how I'm finishing my Dresden plates and rings. All right, with this block we have one more step, and that's to place our center circle. So if you want to, you can take this and fold it in half, kind of make sure that you're going to get it centered. And this did ending up being just a little smaller than I wanted, but I think it's going to look really nice. So just peel off that paper backing, center it up. That looks good. And then just follow your fusible web instructions for fusing that down permanently. So that is it for our spinning Dresden plate. I hope you enjoyed learning how to piece this with me today. If you'd like to join in the fun and make mini Dresden plates and rings, our circle template set and the Dresden template set can be found linked up together at leahday.com/Dresden. Until next time, let's go quilt.